Senator Hawley. Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shanahan, I'd like to follow up on the line of questioning from my colleague from Arizona, Senator McSally. I think there's no doubt we'll continue to see tensions in North Korea on the Korean Peninsula after the latest breakdown in talks between the President and Chairman Kim. How do you plan to use your position as Acting Secretary of Defense to reassure our allies in the region? We know our great friends, the Republic of Korea and Japan, have a much more tense and complicated relationship with each other. For example, there were questions about them sharing NEO plans with one another. What do you plan to do to work on bridging that gap?
Thank you for that question, Senator. That gap can be bridged at, I'll say, 3 different levels. There's a relationship level, and I have relationships with the Defense Minister for Japan as well as the Republic of Korea, so it's important that I play a role in keeping the 2 countries together there. Exercises that we'll do together, technology that we'll develop together, particularly in the area of missile defense. As you well know, it's a sizable investment by the government of Japan is to put Aegis ashore, as well as develop other, I'll say it, defensive capabilities in the event of an escalating situation on the peninsula.
So you had answered Senator McSally saying that there would not be any degradation of our relationship and readiness as it pertains to military exercises. But are you changing the nature of those exercises to, for example, simply being tabletop exercises or just computer exercises as opposed to how they've been conducted in the past?
Senator, if you don't mind me taking that question.
Yes, of course.
The way I would describe it, and you're quite familiar with this, what we have changed, and I want to be clear, is we've changed the method of training to focus on the mission essential tasks that each of the levels of command needs to be proficient in. What we haven't changed is the outcome and the readiness to fight tonight. So the way you characterize it is in part true, that some of our large-scale exercises are done now with simulation, CPX, command post exercise, and so forth. But what's really important to highlight is that at the battalion and the squadron level and below, there's been no changes to training and the ability of our men and women on the peninsula to train in the integration of combined arms. Where we've made adjustments for large-scale exercises, and what we've done is, very quickly, I'll just try to highlight, we've shifted from certifying our readiness based on the conduct of an exercise to a much more complex system that General Abrams and Admiral Davison have developed, which identified all the mission essential tasks for every level of command in making sure that we have a proven method of developing proficiency. And the other thing I can assure you is that as soon as General Abrams and Admiral Davison have any concerns about their ability to maintain readiness, and right now we're executing their plan, they know that they come right back to the Secretary and I, and we will work with the Koreans to make adjustments. But I can assure you from a military perspective right now, I am quite confident in our 2019 training plan and confident that that will deliver the level of readiness that we have historically done, accomplished in large-scale exercises.
So you're saying that for brigade and below, or battalion and below, there's no change as far as the leaders that see what's happening?
That is correct. That's an important point, Senator. That is correct.
So above brigade, that's where the changes have taken place?
That's where the changes are, and in some cases, it's dialing down the volume of the exercises. As you know well, those exercises had 2 purposes. One was deterrence, one was proficiency. I'm confident right now that our exercise program does deliver the latter, proficiency in our mission essential tasks.
Have those exercises taken into account the role of logistics in sustaining any type of a fight that we would have to engage in? I do think that we focus on what's happening on the peninsula, but sustaining that fight long term and getting whatever we need, resources there, is a real challenge. The Pacific, as many people, I don't know if people realize how vast the Pacific Ocean is. Right. Can you speak a little bit to the logistical challenges?
I can. In fact, this past year we did what we call a Korea Readiness Review, and we played out the first 60 days of a Korean conflict to include the detailed logistics planning that was necessary to support operations for the first 60 days. We, needless to say, learned a lot during that exercise, but our exercises absolutely include the logistics factors associated with our ability to conduct operations.
Thank you. Our national defense strategy outlines a shift in primary focus from countering violent extremism to great power competition. As acting secretary, Mrs. Shanahan, what specifically do you plan to do in areas perhaps less obviously impacted by either of these priorities, for example, Southcom or AFRICOM?
Southcom and AFRICOM are critical in terms of defeating ISIS, dealing with regional threats. The chairman, in his role as the integrated global campaign planner, we make sure that the risk in those areas and the resources required to manage are properly delivered, both to Southcom and AFRICOM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.